Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table with Setco Services. In this podcast, we delve into the world of real estate and explore what happens beyond the closing table. Join us for insightful discussions and expert interviews that will change the way you see real estate transactions. Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table. I'm George Brandon Jr., sponsored by Setco Services. Today I've got my friend Brian McBroom.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thank
How
you,
doing,
George.
Brian?
Good.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
School started today, Brian.
Yes, it did. It's a busy roadway again this morning. Everybody's getting out bright and early, getting to class for the first time this year.
Does school have an impact on the tax office?
It does. It does. And I'll tell you, the number one way is a lot of our employees have children. So, all the mamas and the dads too want to go help the kid out on the first day of school. It's always a hectic time, but we
give
make
them a
it
little
work.
break. You give them a little break,
We
a little leeway coming in.
We actually
keep
do.
that 8 o'clock time tight. It's 8 o'clock. Y'all start
8 o'clock. Yeah. Every day, but Wednesday, we open at 8:30 on Wednesday, but yeah, we always work that out ahead of time. We let them know that we want them to enjoy that day.
That's good. I saw all kinds of pictures today.
Good.
My family and, people going to school. My wife sending pictures out of our girls. So proud. And then I got some for my sister. So it's nice. Everybody getting back to school.
Well, you only get to do it one time. These kids are only that age one time. The first day of school, there's only 12 of those unless you count kindergarten. So, you want to enjoy that time with them. We want our employees, our moms and dads to enjoy that time with their kids.
For sure. I have, older pictures since I have teenagers now where they had the little first grade sign. And I got one from one of my nieces, kind of teared up a little bit. Now I got these little high school people that look like, real women, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, they were kind of cuter when they were little.
Yeah. when did this happen?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It feels like a flash.
Yeah.
Well, let me get a little background on you. Where are you from, Brian?
I am born and raised right here in Walton County. I am truly a native.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. How was, DeFuniak, I presume?
DeFuniak area. Yeah,
Okay.
sure was. But you can say DeFuniak, but growing up here in the 70s and 80s, all of Walton County was home. We went everywhere from the Alabama line to up and down the beaches and the bay, everywhere in between. So I have covered Walton County pretty much my whole life, one way or the other.
Well, you've seen it grow a little bit.
I have seen it grow a lot. I have seen it grow. I'll tell the story that many times going to the beach, I can remember my dad pulling down the beach. You could drive on the beach and you could drive not just in one area.
Yeah.
It was from one side of Walton County to the other. You could drive, and I almost probably knew, I would say over half or three quarters, if you saw a house on the beach, you knew who owned it because there weren't that many. And it was very few.
So my family started coming here in the 60s.
Okay.
And vacation, but for different but similar reason, my grandfather rode horses.
Okay.
So he could come down and they stayed in Dune Allen, and he would come down here and ride horses, and no one said anything. No big deal.
Plenty of room to do it in. Yeah. There weren't many people here back then. Highway 98 was a 2-lane road, not a very good 2-lane road either. But it was, and used to.
Hell, it was a 2-lane road when I moved here in 2002.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, even back.
It was still dirt, I think.
In the 80s, I can remember going down to the beach. We're going to go stay for a few days on the beach, and you better bring some food with you because there wasn't a lot of restaurants and places to eat down here. It was just a very sparsely populated area.
Yeah. You got to come and you're cooking out every night.
Yeah.
At the house.
Absolutely.
Or what was that place in Destin, the Green Knight?
The Green Knight used to be there. That was a landmark.
Yeah.
Sure was.
My folks used to tell me about that. So, how was growing up in DeFuniak?
It was great. I tell you got to me, the best of both worlds. Small, but for what we considered a big town, Fort Walton or something like that, or Dothan. You could go an hour any direction, Pensacola, you could get to a pretty big place, but, very rural, just very place. You didn't have to worry about locking your doors at night type place. And I won't say Mayberry, but not far from it. You could walk the streets, and, it was just a good place to grow up, and people knew each other. Helped your neighbors. It was just a really good place to grow up.
Did you live in town or you grew up?
I always lived outside of town, just a little bit outside of town. My grandparents lived in town, so after schools and summer times, I would spend a lot of time at their house while my parents worked. So, but sometimes they would stay at my house so we could roam the woods a little bit more.
Gotcha. What'd your folks do?
My dad worked with a power company for he retired with 45 years of service with Chelco.
Nice.
He started there right after he...
Was it Chelco then?
It was Chelco, yeah.
Really?
Chelco back then even, yep. He came back out of he did a stint in the Navy. Of course, the draft was going on. He had done his time in the Navy. When he got back, he he went to work at Chelco pretty quickly after that and stayed there till he retired. And my mother, couple of different jobs through the years. She worked with a dentist, a local dentist there in DeFuniak for several years, and then she went to work with a school district where she eventually was the secretary to the superintendent of schools for probably close to 25 years.
Really?
Through many different superintendents. Yep, sure was.
Okay.
Yep.
So how many schools were in Walton then?
Oh man, there were mainly just Paxton, DeFuniak, and Freeport, and each one probably had, I think Freeport was still kind of a K through 12 setting, and so was Paxton. And DeFuniak, we did have 2 elementary schools, a middle school, and the high school. So, that was and I think Butler had a school here across the bay. Okay. That was Butler Elementary, as I recall.
Even in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, it was, I can't remember. There was a time it wasn't open, I think, and a time it was the one down towards Point Washington. That's when it was located there. Yeah, it was there.
All right. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I learned things here, Abby.
Well, I don't
Local knowledge. That's what happens here. That's why I love doing this.
Yeah.
I learn about the town, the place I love, and I didn't grow up in it, but anyway, I consider myself from here now. We're just going to say that.
You've been here long enough.
Yeah. I've earned my visa. Anyway, so where'd you go to high school? Did you go to DeFuniak?
Walton High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's Walton. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Walton High School.
It was a good experience.
It absolutely was. I tell you, one of the greatest experiences through the years later, I ended up working with the school district for about 10 years, but I had the opportunity to work around some of the teachers that they were my teacher when I was there. Now they're still there, or were still there at that time, getting to know people, 2 different ways. One, they're your teacher, your mentor, then later they're working with you and giving you some good mentoring and guidance there too. So it was a great, unique experience. A lot of good people here.
Did you play any sports?
Played a little bit of everything at one point or another. Played basketball, football, baseball, played them all. Later on in high school, I pretty much, being a kid that lived in the country, it's hard to get to town. So
how far were you? How far out?
Oh, it was probably about 8 miles out of town.
Okay,
at that
not
time.
Bad.
Not bad, but
I grew up in Memphis, man. I drove 45 minutes to high school. That's a walk.
It was a little bit too far for the bicycle couldn't make it there every day back and forth. So it got 16. It was like, what? To get back and forth, I need a job. So I ended up getting a part-time job and pretty much giving up all the sports there by my junior year. Just jumped.
What kind of job did you get? I'm curious.
I was a bag boy. Piggly Wiggly.
All right.
Yeah.
They had a pig up there?
We had a Piggly Wiggly, man. Yeah, Piggly Wiggly.
That's a Mississippi grocery store. Yeah. All right. We had a pig at Ole Miss.
Did y'all?
Yeah.
We had a pig.
Still got one at Port St. Joe?
Yeah, well, we got one again now in DeFuniak. They've opened up a new restaurant, a new grocery store. It's the Piggly Wiggly again now. Different location, but yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
That one at Port St. Joe is pretty nice.
Yeah, that was back in the day when we had paper sacks and you actually bagged the groceries, carried them out with the car, and the ladies would give you a nice tip, which was big money back then. You get a quarter, man. It was a big deal. We were happy to get it. Believe me, it was that would buy a gallon of gas almost, half a gallon anyway.
It went a lot longer way than it does today.
Yes, it did.
So what'd you do after school?
Well, I started out, I had an interesting trip on that. Started out and decided I'm going to college. So I went to college and, found out real fast that if you don't go to class, you don't get to keep going to college because
you learned the freshman.
Yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way. So I had to. My dad said, "That's good. Here's a job." And so I started on my 18th birthday, which was I graduated in May, and in November was my 18th birthday. So on my 18th birthday, I started out digging ditches, doing plumbing. And
so where'd you go to school? Back up.
Okay.
Did you bomb out that quick?
OW.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't go too far away. It was Okaloosa Walton.
Okay.
Back then.
Okay. Got it.
So I ended
Were you
up,
living at home?
Living at home.
Okay.
And so I was able to drive back and forth. But
Dad realized it just wasn't for you.
No, Dad realized it wasn't for me. He made sure it wasn't for me because he said, "I'm not paying for that if you're not going." So I went to work.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it was very fair. I had to go to work, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me because, like I said, a few years doing plumbing work, and then moved over and did a little bit of electrical work, and eventually landed at what was Florida Transformer at the time up north of FUNIAC, working on high voltage electrical equipment and transformers, that type of stuff. Did that for 4 or 5 years.
Did you get licensed in any of those?
No, didn't get licensed. Just did the work and just did the work. I was a worker bee.
Yeah.
And but during that time at Florida Transformer, I thought about it and I said, I could have passed one of those classes. So started going at night, taking some classes, and that led me to a job opening that happened in the Walton County School District, which I took as a aide and then eventually paraprofessional aide. So I just worked with the school system at the vocational school time, which is a great thing. I tell you, I'm really glad to see it's now the Emerald Coast Technical College.
Okay.
And it's the greatest thing I think we could have for kids today. We all talk about the need we have for skilled workers and skilled labor, and didn't have a lot of that back in my day. You know, you just went to work and you learned under somebody. If you wanted to, you like what the guy did, you worked your way up. And now you can still do that, I know, but it's nice to have a school. My son actually attended that, and he went 2 years at the technical college, and it's been out of high school now 4 going on 5 years, and he's doing electrical work every day.
Was that so? Is that still under the purview of the Walton County School District?
I believe it is. I believe it is still part of the Walton County School District.
Time,
yeah, they call it technical. Yeah, it was a technical. Then they just called it the VOTEC.
Yeah.
But they also ran a school program, which I worked with back then, which was a dropout prevention program. So if a kid was behind, he could come over there, and actually he could catch up possibly and graduate with his class. But half a day you did academics and half a day you had to take a vocational course to give you a skill. And some of them liked it so much, they're like, we just want to finish here. We want to finish our vocational course.
Was that for high schoolers?
That was high schoolers. Yes,
okay.
Sir. Yep.
Huh. Hey, look, with AI, electricians and plumbers may be the next millionaires.
I think I think there's a very big window of opportunity for them if you want to be in that
industry,
business.
Yeah. There's going to be a void.
Yeah. Well, there's so many retiring.
And I think that those two specifically, and there's more, of course, but that apprenticeship, there's value there when you have people that really know what they're doing. And, they're going to retire. And if there's not people coming to replace them, we're going to have a big void. I mean, that's a national stat.
That's exactly right.
Because people aren't coming into that industry.
Yeah. So, and exactly what I've told my son, stick with it. You're in the right business.
Yeah. Well, if he needs an investor in a plumbing or electric company, let me know.
Okay.
So I talked to somebody about that the other day. So, all right, you did the vocational thing, but you're working. What were you doing there?
And there I was a aide, and then what they called a paraprofessional aide when I got my 2-year degree, and I just kept working there.
What does that entail, like being an aide?
An aide, well, you did whatever they needed. For me, I worked mainly out of the office because it was a pretty small school.
Yep.
So I would go in and out of the classrooms. They need help there with a teacher, but I worked helping at the office level. We had people coming in because it was a vocational school at the time. We had high school kids there, but we also had adults that would come in.
Okay.
So I dealt with some of their needs to help get them signed up. We always had people coming in to sign up and doing things like that. Just whatever pretty much they needed. I was the guy that was the jack of all trades, so to say. I was there. Point me in that direction, I'll do it or learn how to do it real quick.
Well, what's our timeline here? What year are we roughly?
That's 93 to, that would be 93. I was at the school 93 to 05-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. No, excuse me. No, 93. I'm sorry. I skipped something there. 93 to around 02.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were there for a good little stint.
Yeah, I was.
Did you move up some of the school, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I pretty much moved there. Eventually ended up in the classroom all the time. And that was where I ended up before I decided to change and changed professions, so to say. I went and worked with the Florida Department of Corrections.
Okay. Well, back up. What'd you teach?
Well, the way they taught that class, it was a teaching in the classes. You taught all classes and all courses in the same classroom.
Okay.
So what that looked like, because a kid could work at his own speed. What we found was a lot of kids got behind. They were behind not because they couldn't learn something, because they were bored. They learned it so fast, and we're still teaching it a week later, and like, I'm past that. So now I'm bored, now I goof around, now I get in trouble. Now, next thing you know, I'm out of school. So in this class, we might have one kid that's working on algebra, and one kid's working on American history, and one that's working on English. And I just sort of bounce between them. I'm there to help facilitate them and their learning and help to work with them however we could.
So you kind of teaching the whole gamut.
Yeah, we were kind of doing a little bit of all of it. Yep, that's exactly.
And they were required to do something on the
half a day. We split the student body into half, and half of them would be in the vocational class in the morning. Then they would come to the academics in the afternoon, and the other half just swapped. If they were academics in the morning, went to vocational in the afternoon.
Did you do any of the vocational stuff?
No, nothing more than just, if they needed something, I might help out really quickly, but really no. And they were pretty much one teacher in one class, and they had a pretty good program set up the way they worked it. And as I recall, we never had an aide in any of the vocational classes. It was just me fill in once in a blue moon when they needed a day or two here or there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. So you said you went on to the Florida Department of Corrections.
Florida Department of Corrections.
That's kind of a
It was
move.
a jump. Yeah, it was a move. It was one I wasn't sure of. But after working there during that time, like I said, it's been a little over 9 years, I understood what people meant by being burned out. I just felt like I was, it was just I needed something else.
Yeah, you need change. I get that.
So I had talked to somebody about the prison, which had always been there. I had denied myself working there for many years. People would ask me, "You want to go work in prison?" I was like, "I don't think so." But I had the idea that I might want to work in one of their classification positions, and I was told if you could get in at the sort of ground level as a correctional officer, that was a good way to move up and eventually move into that. So that's what I did. Went through the course. During that time, my wife was pregnant with our first child, and then she was born right after I graduated from correctional school. And so I worked part-time. I continued to work at the school system. I worked part-time at the Walton County Jail at night. And then finally the prison called, and I went to work with them. I think that was in 2002. Yeah, 2002 when I went on full-time with them.
So that was a jail different than the prison?
Very different. Okay. Very different. Because when you're in jail, at the jail, I should say, when people are arrested, they're not necessarily guilty yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been arrested, you're there. We did have a handful of folks who were sentenced misdemeanors that were there for less than a year, so they might be doing their time in the county jail. But most people, you're arrested, you're just there till your trial or till you make bail, and you're in and out. Where the prison, that's a convicted felon that's been through the court system, and they are convicted completely. So it's two different things.
Is that different now? Is it two different spots?
No, it's still the same. It's still two. Well, it's still two different spots. You got your Walton County Jail or a county jail where a person would go awaiting trial or doing a sentence misdemeanor, and then you would have, your prison. You've been convicted of a felony, and you're going to do a year or more. Because
where's the prison?
The prison is north of DeFuniak on Highway 83. It's probably about 3 to 4 miles out of town.
Oh, I passed. I never paid attention.
Yeah. It sits way back.
I've never been there.
Yeah,
thankfully.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, right. I appreciate that. I haven't been invited, and I'm proud of that.
That's good, man. You don't really want to be there, probably. It's a unique world.
A lot of things are in Walton County, but I guess I'm blessed that I don't know where that is exactly.
It's right next to. I will say the prison in Walton County is right next to the Walton County landfill. If you find the landfill, you'll find the prison. Okay. Right beside it.
I'm sure it smells delightful.
There were some rough days in the compound. Yeah. Bad for everyone. Yeah.
So you started out as a correctional officer, kind of bouncing back and forth between the jail and the prison?
Yeah, just part-time until the prison came calling. I went full-time with the prison.
Okay. How was that experience?
It was a good experience. I tell you, it's not one I expected to be good in the sense of, I didn't really know what I was going into, although I had a little experience at the jail. When you walk in the first day and the gate closes behind you, you hear it latch, you realize I'm in prison too.
Yeah.
You don't have a gun. You got a set of handcuffs, an ink pen, and a little can of mace. And that's it, and you walk in every day, and there used to be a sign that says today, because it's updated every day, we have 1,100 inmates on the compound, and we have 43 officers.
Yeah.
So when you see
you are outnumbered.
You are outnumbered from the minute you walk in. So you learn to deal with people on a different level. If anybody thinks you're going to go in guns a-blazing, sort of, being a cowboy, you won't last long in that business because you learn to communicate with people and you learn to talk to people and to get them to comply with what they need to comply with without twisting arms. Basically, you hope that you don't have to twist arms. Let's put it that way. And I think it was very good for me to see that, it's just a different group of people, a different way to communicate with people than that. Communicating with kids, that was one thing, especially kids in a dropout prevention type setting. And I had learned to do that, I feel like, very well. Then you go to the prison, different group of people, communicate with them very well. And so it gave me a lot of, I don't know if you would call it practice, but a lot of experience, definitely dealing with different groups of people.
Any interesting situations you got put in?
Oh,
you don't have any jail breaks or anything?
No jail breaks.
Okay, well that's good. All right, you kept everybody in.
That's right.
Right.
We were doing our job. No jail breaks.
Right.
Thank goodness. So there's always the fight that eventually is going to happen inside the prison. It's just what's going to happen, and you run in on that, and you never know what's going on, when you're getting there. But I will say that the thing that towards the end I had made up my mind. I think I I think it might be time for a change. My kids were getting a little older, shift work. It's a little different there at the prison. They had 3 shifts back then. And I found myself one day that we were expecting a riot. That the rumor
you were expecting a riot.
They were expecting a riot on the compound.
You got a snitch?
Told somebody? They were just a lot of tension, a lot of gang stuff going on.
I'm just digging for something.
Yeah,
some
man.
Dirt or something now, Brian. I feel like it, but it's still,
it's to the point that we had extra people watching the rec yard, feeling like that's where it would go on. And sure enough, I was about to go home one day and we get the call that fight on the rec yard. And so I found myself running towards the rec yard with approximately 1,000 men and trying to get them to open the gate to let me in. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? And what am I doing here? It'll make you rethink your decisions in life. But
with a can of mace.
Yeah, with a can of mace and some handcuffs. And it turned out it was not the riot. Thank goodness. It was just a basketball dispute and we were able to break it up. But that sort of was for me the thing. I said, I was thinking it was time, and I think maybe it's time to find a new career path for me. I think I want to do something else.
Well, just because I kind of know where you went, how did that come about?
Well, that was interesting too. So, I had, like I said, working at the prison there, I was thinking I'll go back to the school system. I just really felt like that's where I wanted to go back to.
Can I go back for a second?
Sure.
Did you do it? Did they have any type of, educational stuff at the jail? Or like classes or
like for the
inmates?
Yeah. When I went to prison, they did when I started.
I'm sorry, the prison.
Yeah, they did when I started. There were some vocational classes there and there were some educational classes. Yep. To give them skills. And, but then that had changed. There were some changes and all that got shut down during the time I was there. I think it was some budget cutbacks. It was something like that. I can't exactly remember what it was now.
They got a pretty good program now, don't they?
I think they're back
doing machine equipment and stuff.
I think they're back doing things like that now, and especially at the jail, they've stepped theirs up to where they're doing, teaching heavy equipment and operating it. And that. So folks spend some time in jail, they could come out able to operate some equipment, get a good job when they get out,
Give them something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm a believer in rehabilitation. Not everybody can be rehabilitated, but at the same time, you give somebody some set of skills where they've got something they could go do. I think there's value there.
They need a chance. People
had
need
Mike in here, and he was talking about it.
Yeah,
how pretty successful.
Yeah, he's spearheaded that, and I think it's been a great thing that he's done. I really think it's added a lot of value to people where they can come out and actually. There's always workers needed in that field. Yeah, and hey, you can walk out and jump on my piece of equipment, and work all day. I need you.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Good.
Especially
give them opportunity.
The development in this county.
Yeah,
just this county alone. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity.
Don't have to go far, do they?
Yeah, no, they don't. And I've made it pretty clear. I'm a big fan of the sheriff.
Yeah,
I think he does a great job. Okay. So all right. So you decided to make a career change. How did that go?
I was thinking on it. Okay. And there was an election had just happened. I was thinking, okay.
What year is this?
That would have been late 2004.
Okay.
So new superintendent, actually Miss Carlene Anderson was elected as superintendent at that election. At the same time as Rhonda Skipper was elected as tax collector. And while I was thinking, maybe I'll talk to Miss Carlene, see if there's something in the school system I could come back to. And I get a phone call out of the blue from Miss Rhonda Skipper, and she said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about a job." I said, "I think you got the wrong guy. I've never worked in the tax collecting industry." She said, "No,
I'm working in a jail."
Yeah, she said, "No, I want you to come out. I've heard some good things. I want to talk to you." So
did she know you?
She knew me, yes, a little bit, and her husband had worked at the prison.
Okay,
and at the time, so while I was at the prison, one of the things I started doing was investigating almost all the what we call DRs, disciplinary referrals. If there's a fight, there's something happened, you have to investigate that. That inmate then basically kind of goes through a court type system in the inside of which they may lose game time or something like that. So I would put all that together, do all the investigation, and I would give that, at the time it was the administrative lieutenant was sort of the judge in those hearings. And they would take what I would give them and have their hearing. Well, it turned out Miss Rhonda's husband at the time was the admin lieutenant, and Jeff Skipper, and so he kind of knew my work and what I did, and I think he had told her, "Hey, if you want to hire some new people, you ought to talk to that guy." He liked what I was doing apparently. So I went and I talked to her, and she told me what she had, and I said, I think the good Lord is in this, and this is what He's moving me to, and I believe very much that He has been along in every phase of my life. When these changes came, I can see His hand in it, especially looking back. Yeah. So I said, I'm going to listen and trust Him, and I'm going to move this direction. I think this is a good move. 21 years later, really fixing to start at 22 now, I'm still there. So
I love it.
Yep.
All right. So what position did you start at?
So I started out as a field agent. We didn't have that position. That was a brand new position. So basically I created that department.
Scary.
Yeah, it does. When I heard it, I
don't
thought,
want a field agent from the tax office calling on me. I'll be honest, Brian.
Well, I was thinking guys in trench coats, agents,
yeah,
they coming
exactly.
around and flashing a badge at you.
Knocking on my door, you got paid your taxes, sir.
That's what I was thinking too. But then after hearing what she had to say, what they were looking for was we had not done in Walton County any mobile home compliance in the past, and that was something the state was cracking down.
You don't say.
Now. Yeah, that's right. And
I can see that the results of that today still, Brian. But that's probably another podcast.
It probably is.
Everybody knows what I do here. Yeah. The mobile home situation. I won't just say Walton, and the Panhandle is. Yeah.
Well, for so many years, what had happened, especially in Walton, and you're right, all across the Panhandle, really, people would buy mobile homes. They would set them up, and they would say, "Hey, they would be marked somehow as homestead." But with a mobile home, it's still considered a vehicle. Basically, it's got a title, and so therefore you have to register it. Nobody registered them, and then they would be changing hands 5-10 times. So you're never going to find who the original owner was.
Believe me, brother, I'm well aware of that process and the cluster that it is. Yeah. But, I'll say it's gotten better. How about that?
Yeah. And dealing with compliance, people would go and have to have mobile homes awarded to them. So that was sort of what I was doing, was identifying them, saying, hey, folks, got a problem. We need to get that fixed, and work with them to try to get that taken care of and get them a title.
So this is curious to me. This is what I told you. I may rabbit hole something because I've been very involved in this.
We haven't been down one yet.
20 years. How did you determine, somebody's got 5 acres north of DeFuniak? Yeah. How'd you even know there's a trailer on there, or a mobile home? Excuse me.
That was me going.
You just drive around in a trench coat?
That was me. No trench coat, but definitely
you wearing a trench coat in Walton County.
It was boots and wheels on the ground, driving around, and I found myself at times I would select an area of the county and say, okay, we're just going to work this area. I know the roads on the map, and luckily, like I said earlier, I'm born and raised in Walton County, especially the north end. I had been all over. I knew all the roads.
You rode the dirt roads as a young man,
and I would learn and there's a single phase line running there. There's something at the end of this line, so I would follow that line around, and then there might
something's getting powered.
Yeah, and there might be 5 trailers back there. We found that sometimes, 5 mobile homes, and they're living off a 1 meter box. I found lines drug out across the ground, and I found all kinds of situations through the years.
Sounds safe.
Yeah, real. All by yourself out there, nothing like it.
5 mobile homes running off of 1 power box. Yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
So, all right, dramatic situation. You find 5 mobile homes that you didn't know about on 5 acres. Yeah. What do you do?
Well, you just make contact with somebody, and we just start talking through it and tell them, so here's what we need. It was not up to me to, I'm not the police. I'm not the building code department. I'm nothing like that. But we let them know, look, these mobile homes, you don't have stickers on them. You don't have them registered. This is what we need to do. Help them find a VIN number, which is always stamped on the mobile home. And we would, if we couldn't find them, well, it's supposed to be, but I tell you, you're in Florida and it's very humid. And a lot of times they rust up until it's not stamped very deep, and it would flake off. And so what would happen, we would end up almost invariably with compliance with the state of Florida. Would have to come out. They'd do their inspection. There's a little process, and then it goes through the court system where the judge could award that to that person who is the owner. And then compliance comes back out, stamps a new or attaches a new VIN number on that mobile home, and then we get them a title based on that.
So was your goal to get them a title or convert it to real property?
Well, get them a title, because converting to real property as you will know, only happens if they own the mobile home and the property.
Right.
Many times, let's say the situation where there's 2 or 3 sitting on a piece of property.
Family deals.
Dad owns the property.
Mm-hmm.
Dad lives in one of the mobile homes, and his kids own the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's got a title. So what we did, you can't real property the 2 that they don't own both, but you could real property dads. And then once it's a real property, it can be taxed like a site-built home from that point, and they don't have to have a decal every year. The others would have to have a decal every year, just like you do for your car, because the state of Florida considers those a vehicle.
Yep. I've tried to explain that to people. Yeah. They're like, and I get it. The mobile home's been there for 20 years or whatever, and like, yeah, but in theory, you should be able to hook it up and drive it off.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, you can't. We took the wheels off. We fixed it. I'm like, yeah, but you can go through the legal process or through the tax office to convert it to real property.
Right.
So those are some of the challenges we have on the closing side.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine some of the challenges you have just riding the roads and saying, oh, I didn't know there were 5 mobile homes over there.
Those first few years, it was very eye-opening how many we had. And it was also surprising. People were, what are you talking about? So we tried to do a little education campaign on it too, that we're out there, we're doing this, and we're here to help you. We're not here to take your home. We're not here to do anything like that. We're here to just get you in compliance to help it be taxed properly and make sure really it helps the owner. So now guess what? You actually got ownership of it. You actually do own it now.
Yeah.
Because, so that.
You got something you can actually sell if you wanted to.
That's right. You can actually trade it. Sell it, and you got a title to transfer at that time. Yeah.
So any fun situations you ran into while you were doing that?
Oh yeah. There's, gosh, some of those stories we better not tell on here. But
well,
but no.
Well, I just
that's
imagine.
What we're here for, right?
Yeah. I mean, you grew up in North Walton. I've been coming here for many, many years, and not to crash, but I could imagine you walk up to the wrong property. Yeah. They're going to question you a little bit. Yeah. Is that fair?
I tell you that I talked about communicating with people. Yeah. And some of my previous jobs prior to this one really helped me because when you're standing, it's one thing to talk to somebody on the street. When you're standing in somebody's yard at their front door and you're telling them something they own, their home, the biggest thing they probably own, is not in compliance, and we need to talk about how to fix that, they're not real happy with you. Yeah. So you better learn how to talk to people and know how to communicate with people. And so I was fortunate that I feel like I had some good background to be able to
learn
do that.
Learn a little bit in that jail situation.
Yeah, all of it. Even the kids at the school, you're talking to people, and you have to understand very much. I'm standing in their yard. Mm-hmm. I'm not, in my office or something like that. You better communicate properly with them, but keep in mind always, I'm here to help them.
Yeah.
I understand their anger. I understand what are you doing here? I don't want, why'd you pick on me? Wasn't picking on anybody. We were trying to cover the whole county. And I literally would work the north end of the county, the very extreme north end, the middle of the county, the beach area. I would work everywhere, every other week, trying to cover basically the whole county. We're not picking on any one area.
Were you the only one doing this?
Is that just me?
Yeah.
It was just me.
Well, I'll thank you for the job you did, because I'm sure it made it better. Yeah. But it's that's a tough one. It's still today. We have an account on closings with new homes, and it still can be challenging if dad parcels out something to the daughter and did it get done right, and now they put the home on it. And so it's just a different set of challenges when it comes to transferring real property versus mobile home. And we like it when they're fixed and it's real property and it's just a house. Yeah. That's much easier.
It's a lot easier. And the good thing is you can get homestead exemption with that. And it's transferable without the title. I mean, it's all, you can do it all, the real property can transfer to the new owner,
So you did that for how long?
Well, did that for, several years, maybe at least 3 years, if not a little more. But, around 2008, we had the big crash. Mm-hmm. And somewhere at the end of 2009, probably more, what that created in our office was a lot of tax deeds. So a lot of people who had been holding on to their, tax certificates decided we're cashing out. The values are dropping, everything. So they were selling. So our tax department literally had stacks, really high stacks. You couldn't hardly see our folks of tax deeds they're trying to work through. And we had a 2-person department at that time. So I ended up jumping in and helping them. And so I really got a lot of experience in the tax department. We had to sort of let the field stuff go to the side a little bit. We still did it, just not as much as we were because, man, we were up to our neck in tax deeds. So worked on the tax deed situation, worked through that, and ended up sort of hanging out more, sort of assimilated the field department into the tax department a little bit more at that point. And just learned a lot more about the tax department, whether it be tax certificates, tax deeds, dealing with that kind of stuff, and just property tax in general, basically.
Got it. How'd y'all deal with all that build up?
The build up
of the tax deeds and some of the stuff that, because that was an interesting time.
It was.
I was definitely here and present for that.
Were you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So you said it was, for me, I can tell you personally, it was just a lot of long afternoons and a lot of overtime, I guess you would say, because we just really we would just have to stay. We had so many to get done. And, it was just a unique time.
So are you processing the sales? Is that what's
we're preparing everything for the sale?
Okay.
So our job is we have to take everything and let's say there's a tax certificate. There might be 5 tax certificates out there. We end up having to combine all that into whoever's taking it to the sale. Mm-hmm. They basically have to redeem those and all that money goes. So whoever the person taking it tax deed is, all the money they put in for us to get ready for sale, they got all of their interest they may have earned plus all the costs that it took to do that. That is the opening bid of the sale. They're going to get all their money back, that tax certificate holder who took it to tax deed sale. So we're preparing all that. And so when we're doing so, and then we send it out to do a legal search. We send out for a legal search to make sure anybody that may have an interest in that property, maybe there's a mortgage company on it that we need to send something to. And once we get all that done, we send that to the clerk of court's office. It's their job then to send the certified mail to all the, call it interested parties, be it a mortgage company or, Cousin Joe, it says he owns part of that. You got to send something to Cousin Joe. So, and then once all that is done legally, then the tax certificate sale takes place. Yeah.
We still,
deed sale, excuse me.
The redemption period's 4 years. So we have to wait 4 years to be able to insure it still today.
Really?
Yep. So just because of the redemption period, if it actually goes to sale and then somebody gets it.
Yeah.
So that adds another tricky thing after you get rid of it.
Yeah.
Once you get
and one of the things we saw a lot, if I recall right back then, was you can hold a certificate for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And we still had a lot of people that would hold them till year 7. If nobody redeemed it, they would file for tax deed because they've got 7 years of interest on that thing. They've made a little bit of money. But a lot of those properties, if nobody's redeeming it, they didn't even get bought at tax deed sale. So whoever took it to tax deed ended up with the property.
Yeah.
So that was, they didn't get their money back, but they got the property.
Unfortunate set of circumstances, but could be a good investment. Maybe it's kind of like storage wars with tax deeds.
Yeah. There were some good stories. I'll tell you the area out in, west of DeFuniak, the Oakwood Hills area. There were a lot of those lots that were kind of cheap to start with, call it not very expensive. And, people had held tax certificates for a lot of years and, they held on to that property. They ended up with a property and now some of that property is building up fast. And they're selling, they're getting a pretty good return on the little bit of money they invested years ago.
Hell, I know there was some in South Walton too, which, you look at that retrospect today, it's kind of like what? But I mean, it was, South Walton, because of what it was through the boom in the 2000s, also, took a tank bad.
It did.
And I don't know if you know this, but I remember going through the downturn, when Wachovia was very heavy leveraged in South Walton and Wells Fargo through, I guess basically default acquisition and the downturn acquired them. And Wells Fargo had an X on Walton County, wouldn't lend money here.
They wouldn't lend money
because they were so over leveraged through Wachovia. So anyway, it was, there was all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but we dealt with tax deed sales down here too. It wasn't just more rural areas or.
Oh no, it was everywhere.
There were some that $500,000 lots or at least leverage for that. And then you got a tax deed sale and then mortgage company will step in, the first.
I saw a lot of tax deeds sales, especially on the south end. That the people would stand in our office because the way that works, you may win it at the auction, but whoever's money gets to us first to pay. So you could still redeem it. So people would watch it on the sale. If it didn't sell for enough, they would pay their taxes and retain their property. So, but what was happening was I feel like some people use that almost like a real estate agent because in some cases they have a beachfront property that's going to tax deed and a bidding war starts. And they got a lot more money than if they would probably have just put it on the market and listed, and they kept all the money and they said, look good to me. And they took the money and said,
sure.
They walked away. So it was an interesting time. There were a lot of different strategies, so to say, going on with what people were doing with their properties that were in tax trouble.
Well, and Walton never had, I don't think at least in, since the S&L crash, counties didn't have to deal with it in that volume like the clerk of court. They started out on what we called the courthouse steps.
That's
right. How you did a foreclosure sale. Literally in front of, and the annex was built then. I remember going out there to a couple because we would do searches and, work with the county and, maybe interested. I can't remember why some of the times I was there, and then eventually they're like, well, we can't handle this on the courthouse. And they kind of went to a more electronic process pretty aggressively, which it was kind of a what show at the beginning, but eventually made it a little more efficient. That was on the clerk side, but I'm sure y'all had the same struggles. Like all of a sudden you've got this volume dumped on you.
Yeah.
I mean, we I don't say survived, but we had 2 big foreclosure farms where we were getting fed closings all across the state of Florida. And we were fortunate because, your local business was nowhere near what it was. And then I also became a short sale expert, which Oh,
did you? That was some new terminology for me. I remember
well,
that time.
No, I didn't want to be a short sale expert, but I had to become you did what you had to do to earn closings at that time.
Yeah.
And that's how we make a living. I wanted to keep our people and everything else.
Yeah.
So like you guys, you came over there and pitched in with the tax office. So, all right, we come out of the change in 2009 plus. Yeah. Where'd you end up after that?
Well, so I sort of always did special projects also. It depends on something may come up. Miss Rhonda would say, hey, Brian, you'll handle this, whatever. But, so we got
you're the fixer.
Yeah, we got
saying, Brian?
Kind of that.
I like that.
Around 2009, late 2009, maybe early 2010, the state passed that they mandated that all tax collectors would take over driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time, we knew it was coming, and there were a couple of counties that sort of piloted it. They jumped out there first. One of them was Suwannee County, because I remember, so Rhonda and I, we made a trip over to Suwannee County and to see their operation. They're doing driver's license, and man, it was, by today's standards, it was crude. It was new. We're trying to get the office set up, and most offices were not, set up properly to do driver's license.
Was it a separate, like DMV here?
Yes. There was a separate DMV. There was actually an old single wide mobile home trailer that was out by the Fair Building in North Walton up in DeFuniak, and that's where for years that you went and get
a
driver's license.
I got mine there.
They had actually moved it out to where the old Walmart was in DeFuniak. That's the best way I know to describe it. But now, and it had took residents there for a few years. So when we come along, that's where it was actually located. So and we decided, we got on the list. We're going to take it over in 2012. Probably mid to late 2012, we were going to do DeFuniak, and they called us, and I think it was between Christmas and New Year's of 2011, and said, by the way, this was the state calling, we're going to shut down that office, and there won't be a driver's license office in Walton County until y'all take it over later this year. Well, Ms. Rhonda said, that's just not going to work. It's not good for the people. They need a place to get their driver's license. So
can you go to Okaloosa and still
you
get
can.
it?
The driver's license is a state, issue,
okay.
so you could go to any county, but it would have made all our citizens have to go somewhere else. So the answer to that was, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So the mandate or whatever came out in 10.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a time, or did all counties have a time period? Was
they kind of
2 years.
We started getting listed on this schedule of who, because they also had a problem. They have to set up each office. Their people have to come, so they can't do the whole state at once.
Is there additional funding for the state for that comes in to the tax office? Or
there is. So the way that worked was the state got $48 for a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they had the people, they had the buildings and the overhead, the brick and mortar buildings, all that, and the cost. Well, tax collectors were mandated to take it on, and so they raised the price on a driver's license to $54.25, and they said the tax collector gets to keep $6.25, and the state still keeps $48, and that's even going on today. We make $6.25 off of every driver's license we issue for our cost, and we absorb all the costs now. For we have to pay for the printers, the everything that you see going into the driver's license. We're paying for that out of that, including the person sitting there issuing that.
Sounds very federal type economics, but anyway,
yeah, very much.
Sounds like a good deal for the tax collector.
That's a very nice way to say it.
When you're trying to put together a budget.
Yeah.
So every driver's license, you get $6.25, and you got to staff everybody.
Yeah, I got to staff everybody.
And the machines and everything else.
And when you think about that, if the basic transaction is probably going to be 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, just because of everything you have to do putting it all into the computer, then waiting for something to print. Minimal 15 minutes. And many times you get a DUI or something else, and you're sitting there working with that. You could be here 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Suddenly, we're that 625 is not covering our costs, the county's cost.
Well, what about new licenses? Don't you have to take over the drivers, or when someone's 16?
Yeah.
We do those have to do but that's in that wheelhouse, right?
Yep, we do all that.
Okay,
yep, we do all.
Well, I know you do, but I was like, I didn't know this. The $6.25. I was like, just the economics don't work in my head, Brian. I don't think they work.
They don't work.
Okay,
they don't work. And so what we've been sort of fighting that battle and advocating for that for quite some time to try to allow tax collectors' offices to keep a little bit more of that money just to cover the cost.
Yeah.
So therefore,
but the price is mandated by the state.
Yeah, the state determines all that. Because we're doing the work for the state. We're their agent. We that's what we do.
Okay.
So back in
doesn't make sense, but not surprising.
That's bureaucracy.
So
bureaucracy.
If I'm a presume, Rhonda put you in charge of this project.
Yeah. So Rhonda and I we had went out. We took a look at Suwannee County and what they did, and we came back and we started trying to get ready for it. And like I said, they pulled one on us and said, we're going to take it out of your office. So I went out by first week of January. I went out and began to work at the driver's license office. We did that.
They let you do that?
Yeah. Didn't have a lot of choice. I just went and said, we're bringing it. I got to go learn about it. So I'm going to be over the driver's license area.
Did you have some capable people over there that were willing to interact with you?
We had two people that were yes, they couldn't have been any better. But the one lady almost immediately, she knew that it was going away and she wanted to move. And so she took another state job. And so it was the one gentleman who had worked there for years and myself. Okay. And we ran that office for several months while we were getting our office at the same time ready in DeFuniak. So we got it ready and got moved in there in late March. Took about 3 months.
Was this inside the tax office in DeFuniak?
Inside the tax office. We reconfigured that office and we got set up and we started issuing driver's license. We had to train our staff. Obviously, the state came and trained us. We had to shut down a little bit for a couple of days, did all that. But
at that time, was everybody capable, or did y'all train everybody to be capable?
We had to train everybody.
I know what it looks like today.
Yeah. We literally had to, we had only done at our counters, you would have done property tax and you would have done, tags, titles, that kind of stuff, hunting and fishing license. That's basically what we were doing. But now we added driver's license. When we added driver's license service, basically we more than doubled our foot traffic in our office. Let's just say, throw a number out there. Let's just say 2,000. You're doing 2,000 people walking in the door a week. We're doing over 4 because we have people who may not own a car, but they're still going to have an ID card. They're going to have maybe they have a driver's license, even if they don't have a car for their job or something, but they need that basic minimum. They need an ID card. So everybody's going to come in for that. So it created a whole new push on our offices at that time. And I did that until we decided, let's go ahead and set up our South Walton office, which we did. I went down and we shut down there for about a little over a month. We brought in a Flowmobile, which is a big bus that comes in. So we were able to operate in the parking lot doing most things, driver's license, tags, and titles, while we reconfigured our South Walton office.
The annex was built, right?
The annex was built.
When was it? Oh, it was open before the downturn, right?
Oh, yeah. It was open before. It was open prior to when I started in 2005. It was already open.
The time gets blurry for me.
Yeah, it does. You have to think about it, and it's hard to think it's been that long ago, but it has.
But it was I know they had a clerk of court there, and the commissioners meet there, but so there wasn't a tax office at all out of the gate.
In the annex?
Yeah,
I think they originally put one because prior to that was prior to me working there. They used to have a trailer, like a little mobile trailer that was out there that the tax office worked out of. But when the annex was
in
completed,
the building.
Yeah, you weren't in that, but there was no building. But when they built the annex building, we moved into it.
Okay, got it.
So we moved into it. We had it in our North Walton office. Then we had it in our South Walton.
So you're talking about just bringing the driver's license?
Yeah, we just brought it
to the South Walton.
Brought it into the South Walton.
Can you still go to DeFuniak today?
Yes,
and get one. Okay,
yep. Get one, or in Freeport. Now that we have a third office, we have our Freeport offices.
Got it. Okay, so going back, you were saying people, double foot traffic.
Yeah,
it's amazing to think that you ID card and all kinds of stuff. Bless you.
Yeah.
In today's what we're trying to get through, that you may have to present an ID card or a driver's license, do pretty much anything in this world but vote.
Yeah.
But anyway, you probably don't want to go down that rabbit hole, Ron.
Hey, well, I'll go wherever you leave right now. It's your show.
That's just that's so baffling to me that
really for me
people
too.
are
It makes no
this.
sense.
But okay, so you're in charge of the whole driver's license.
Yeah, well,
thing.
the good thing was the gentleman I worked with originally when we were doing it, he came over with us too, and he had many, he had nearly 30 years of experience in driver's license, which was great and phenomenal that he came over. Great guy. And so when we opened in South Walton, he sort of remained in the DeFuniak area. I moved to the South Walton office. Once we opened it there, I just sort of stayed in South Walton and was helping that team. And for the next several years, like I say, that was 12, and until probably 2020, I was basically working out of that office almost every day.
Driving back and forth.
Oh yeah, driving back and forth still lived in DeFuniak. That's right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good for you.
It was good, and we expanded that office. Trying to remember which year. I think it was 18 or 19. We realized all of a sudden one day, driver's license did okay. We used to kind of joke. We didn't see many people till about 10 o'clock in our South Walton office. Mm-hmm. Don't know why. We just didn't. But then one day,
beach time.
Maybe on beach time. Yeah. But one day it was like, and I remember well, it was June of 2013. All of a sudden it's like 8 o'clock. The lobby is full and every counter was full. And that went from that to people were literally standing up the hallway trying to get into our office every day. Right after we open, it's like, what is going on? It's like they found us all of a sudden, you know, that you're here. And so that led us to start trying to get ready to to do something. We worked with the county, and we ended up, the building department and planning department, was at the far end of that courthouse annex in Santa Rosa Beach.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to move out to Freeport area, and when left their area open, we reconfigured that area and we moved into the area we're currently occupying now. I went from 6 workstations to 14 workstations.
Because you were down at the other end of the clerk of court.
Where the clerk is now.
Yeah.
That's right. And so we had 6 workstations there, and we moved, and now we have 14 on that other end of the building, trying to make room for us to, plus there is room in the future. We could modify that office if we had to grow even more. And if we needed to add more workstations, we could. Right now, we're in step. I think we're doing very well right there right now.
Oh, y'all are doing a great job, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. All right.
So what you mentioned like 2020, what was the change there? Was that the change before y'all moved to the pieces of the puzzle around?
For me, during that time, through those years, I moved up to different supervisory level, capacities kind of over that office. I was driver's license administrator over South Walton, and then just doing that, moving on up until I went to, Miss Rhonda made me director of branch services. Then, so I was doing a lot more back and forth to DeFuniak, and just, I sort of was bouncing a lot, between offices. And, it was good because we were growing some good leaders behind me. I mean, giving them an opportunity to step into the role I've been doing, and letting them grow. So, we kept doing that until eventually, Miss Rhonda made me the director of operations, and later I was the chief of operations, and now I'm the chief tax collector.
Okay.
Yep. So that's sort of the boom, 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 how we got to here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, and so Rhonda's the elected position. You're kind of like the operations officer,
if
I will,
right.
in a corporate environment.
That's right.
So how did you go about, because, I've spent some time in the tax office. I may buy and sell cars every now and then. And I've been in other places that aren't quite as efficient. How did you get the DMV? Let's say the DMV. We won't say tax office, but the driver's license experience doesn't exactly have the best stigma nationwide.
Right.
It's usually a what show.
Yeah.
And people dread it. But and with taxes or I say titles and stuff too, you guys seem to be pretty damn efficient. How'd you get there?
Well, honestly, I think it's the beginning from the day Rhonda Skipper came in office. And I refer to her a lot because I've worked under her, and this was her show for a long time. But she wanted to do customer service. That's our focus number one. Well, if you're focused truly on customer service, I feel like all this other follows. Another thing is, and I've always said, we don't want to be your typical government office. We don't want to be a bureaucracy. You don't have what you need. Go back, check these boxes, get the back of the line, come back. No. I tell our staff, we've always said, treat that person across the counter. That's your grandma. That's your grandpa. What would you do for them?
Mm-hmm.
Would you go the extra mile? Would you make sure they understood what you just said? Would you ask that question? We want to focus on, when we're focused on people and prioritizing people, I believe all the rest of it just follows. Honestly, George, I do. I think that's how we got the efficiency, because now you're working with a group of people who genuinely care about you as a customer. We want to make sure you got what you need. By wanting to make sure you got what you need, they understand I've got to know what I'm doing on my side of the counter. And so we've got a well-trained staff. We do train them. And not only they're well-trained, we work real hard for this to retain people.
Mm-hmm.
Our job, they can't learn what we do in any college in America. You only learn it sitting in that seat in this industry and in this state, because it's different in Georgia. It's different in Alabama. So they've got their own subtle differences. So we don't want people leaving. If we can hold on to them, we want them to stay, because when they leave take a lot of knowledge with them. It takes about 2 to 4 years for a person to fully, because we kind of have a cycle, especially on the property tax side. You know, bills come out in November, then they go delinquent the same time every year, tax sales same time, and then you get around to November and it starts all over again. So we kind of have a cycle on everything. It takes a couple of years for a person. They've been through the cycle a couple of times now. They're really, I got it now. I kind of got it. And what I've learned is so many people now, our employees, the younger ones especially, they've grown up with a cell phone in their hand or computer. They're not scared of technology at all. When I first started doing the driver's license, our staff had not done that. And they had done some stuff on the computer with the fiddless side with the tags and titles. But this was new, and it was a new way of doing it. And yeah, there's a learning curve there. But with the younger folks who've just had this technology in their hands for so long, I feel like that's been a big part of helping us be successful too, because we capitalize on that. We turn them loose. We let them work.
Yeah.
And they learn really fast.
I don't disagree. Did you find with the younger folks in the tech for sure, but I've found some challenges, I'll say universally, with the ability to provide that customer service. Because I mean, again, I'm speaking from my personal experience. I've been there and seen it. Like, they're just happy.
Yeah.
And there's many, let's just paint a broad brush, government counters you walk up to and people aren't happy. How do you get a young person to provide customer service in y'all's office?
Well, I just feel like we got the people right above them, our middle managers, all that, if that's what you want to call it, the best way I could put it. But they're in constant communication. We meet every Wednesday. We open at 8:30 every Wednesday instead of 8. Part of that is training. Part of that's talking about what's going on, talking about what's coming. So what I found is when we make sure our younger staff, they're fully informed. And I found out sometimes you get bad service because that person's not competent in what they do. So therefore they're trying to cut you off and move you on because I'm not really sure myself. But it's an open book for us to turn around and say, don't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, come here. And somebody steps up that's got a little more knowledge than them that would help them and work through that. Or they also learn that even, I'm going to say some of our younger employees haven't been there as long. This one may be excellent on driver's license, and this one may be excellent on tags and titles. It clicks with them,
Yep.
Well, I know you're my, hey, I got a driver's license. Okay. Well, they call back and forth.
That.
Yeah. And we actually, and we do that by strategically. When I put a new person in a seat, we make sure we got a well-trained person on each side of them. If they need to turn around and wave somebody sort of from the back, they can do it. But generally, they can look left and look right and get it. And sometimes they're listening in. They know that, do this. Okay. Yeah. And they move on. It's just a simple word that, helps them recall what they need to do. And so it's just sort of the communication and putting the right people around our newer people. I believe that's what helps them. And then they also see, how are these folks? Look how they're talking to their customer. Look how they're interacting with their customer. That's how I need to do it, And if for some reason somebody doesn't get that, then we would simply have some conversations with them and impress upon them, this is what we want to do and this is why we're doing it. And if they don't get with the program, then generally they leave. We don't have to send many people down the road, never have. They leave sometimes because they realize this ain't for me. government work's not for everybody. And they got other ambitions. They want to do different things. They don't want to sit right here for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
I asked the guy, the owner operator of one of the Chick-fil-A's.
Yeah.
I had a very pleasant experience with probably a 16, 17-year-old, just polite, happy while they're standing in the June sun. Now they got the tents over them now, but they're taking orders in frickin' June with 50 cars lined up, and it's my pleasure and it's a pleasant experience. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, we're a customer service business too. I'm always exploring. And he's like, we just weed them out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has to do with the people. Sometimes it's not the right fit, but we weed them out pretty quickly. I was like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
A little more difficult in my world and probably your space too. Cause like you said, to replace somebody that you've got training in for a year plus, it's tough. But y'all do a good job at it. I can tell you my, funny side story. My 15-year-old showed up to get her permit. And the lady couldn't have been more kind and tried every way from Sunday to find it, but she didn't complete part of her exam. Okay. So we ran back to the house real quick, and she said, just come on back. As soon as you go do it, come back. We'll get it taken care of. And sure enough, 2 hours later, they were great. They were great. So, and I'm not blowing smoke. I mean, if anybody goes in there, been to other places with the tax collector and the driver's license, it's not exactly, it's typically not a pleasant experience. It's a pain in the ass. I'm sorry.
We have so many people moving here to Walton County and have for years.
Yeah.
And that is the one consistent story. Well, one of the consistent stories we hear over and over is I get a little uptight sometimes if I go in and it's lunchtime. Well, our people have to eat, so they have to leave. And at that moment, everybody decides I'm on lunch too, so let me do my business.
Yep.
So obviously our lines back up. It swells a little bit right around that time. And if I'm there, many times I'm in the lobby and I'm walking around saying, hey, I'm sorry, what you got? I'm sorry. And I'm trying to look, and if we have someone who can do that, we'll look at their paperwork and say, well, what are you here to do? I'm here to do this. Okay, well, do you have Florida insurance? No. Well, you're going to need that. So go ahead and be getting that while you're waiting. We're just trying to vet them a little bit. And if they don't have what they need, no sense to sit there. Go home and get it. You might be back before they even call your number. But so we try to do that. But when I talk to people, I'm apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry for the wait. We're going to get the quick sent. And they're like, wait, this isn't a wait. What are you talking about? It's only been 30 minutes, I mean, in that case at lunch. And, because they're so used to the horror stories I hear. I've heard people tell me in Atlanta that they get in line at 5 o'clock in the morning, and at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, whenever they close for the day, they're liable to say, try again tomorrow. And you sat there all day. You saw nobody. You were that far back in line. And I thought, I can't imagine that. I can't, that would stress me out.
No, for sure.
Trying to provide the service.
Well, and I'm not going to discount the job y'all are doing, but like your example, people coming from the other areas and the bar is so low.
Well,
like
maybe,
Well, but no, but that's part of it, I think, where the expectation is so low, and then you just have a pleasant experience. And I waited 10 minutes, and I was right there and in and out, and like, that was painless. That was pretty cool.
I think that goes back to what I said a while ago. We want to do government different. We don't want to be a bureaucracy and just your general. Anything we can do to help, putting people first, customer service, keeping that first. That's what gets you there.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, what are some of the challenges that y'all have had, like post-COVID? Because I know we've had a pretty serious influx of people, at least that first 2 years for sure, 21, 22, pushing out.
Well, we're always trying to look far down the road and understanding that this growth cycle that we're in is more than a cycle. I mean, I don't know when it's going to stop. It just keeps coming here in Walton County. So trying to prepare for that, I think we made some good moves. One of the things we did was open our office in Freeport. Freeport obviously has exploded, with population. It's been a little hard to get people to find us, but I think they're finally starting to find us. It's just not
Where is it?
It's on Highway 20, just before you get back to Highway 331. Walton County bought a building with, I'm trying to think the name. There used to be a business there, Lulu Beans, but now it's gone. It's moved. But in that long
strip buildings on the south side of 20.
And it's hard to see because you're coming up to the intersection. you're trying to get in the right lane. There's a red light and there's these trees that block the building's view from us. You don't see our signs very well. We're working on that, trying to get the city to allow us to, Freeport to maybe remove some of the trees to see some of the signage better, and just trying to get where you can see us. Mm-hmm. But I think people are finally, the word of mouth is getting around. We advertise it. We put it all on our website, just, where we are. But they are starting to find us, and that office is getting a lot more business now. But that has helped a lot with that overflow or I say influx, I should say, into that Freeport area. Now they don't have to drive to South Walton. They don't have to drive to DeFuniak, which took a little pressure off those two offices too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So has there been any dramatic changes since COVID? Then, you kind of had real estate or, economically in general in 22 kind of change, interest rates, all that good stuff. Anything affected you guys?
Nothing more really than, I'll back up to during COVID. We opened early. We were probably one of the first offices back open. We were on a couple of weeks. We tried, we retooled our office. I put glass in, if you've probably noticed it in our office.
Oh, yeah.
Now. And we did that for the sake, because we don't know. Nobody knew. We're all working without a book during COVID. And we tried it working through the door and on the phone, and people bring stuff, sign it through the door, and just finally said, it didn't take long to see that this is not effective, but, but there's still a lot of fear. Should we breathe on each other? What are you doing?
We did the same thing. We did drive-in closings, which is so customer service reverse and silly.
And that's exactly
right. In retrospect, it just pisses me off.
No customer service. So I finally one day we had a meeting, and I said, how do we want to open the office? And let's open. Everybody agreed. I had the whole staff there, and I said, how should we do it? Somebody said, appointment only. I said, great. Let's tell them how that works. About a minute later, after chaos, everybody trying to figure out, I said, it just don't work. It doesn't work. What happens if you got a customer that should be 15 minutes, takes you 30, and you have one should be 30 and takes you 15? Who gets the next customer? So I said, I think we just need to go to work. Everybody agreed. Let's open the door. So we went back to just going to work. And that's what we did early on. And I think that has had a big impact on our success because we were able to just keep going. Yeah. We had people coming up from all over the state. I mean, literally, we had people drive from Miami to our office because they found out we were open. And they would come there.
A driver's license?
For everything. We eventually did have to put some, we wanted Walton County folks, obviously they're our folks. We want them to get their driver's license, like driving tests done. So we did start making a list that said we knew we could only do so many a day. So majority of that list was for residents. And then we would leave a little area open for out of county folks. Mm-hmm. And if, at the end of the day, this didn't fill up and we had a few more, we would work them in. But, that was our goal.
Okay.
Was just to try to treat Walton County folks first.
Sure.
So we did appointments for that. And we've never done appointments much for anything except that driving test and doing for concealed weapons, even though we do walk-ins for concealed weapons if you need to. We don't really advertise it because it works so much better if we can get the people to show up with their appointments because they're in and out. Just boom, boom, boom. And we have a person there on that day that's all they're doing.
Why is that? Does those take longer?
They not that they take longer. They're just a little more labor intensive on what the customer has to do as far as what you have to do. It's not a front counter thing. You have to provide a little privacy off to the side. So we bring folks back one or two at a time.
We have to take an exam?
No, it's not an exam. Just they have to put their personal information in. And there's a lot of questions about, things like your address, social security number, because it's concealed weapons. So they're getting a lot of personal information from you.
Do you get many of those anymore?
Oh, yes, we do. Yes. And actually,
Florida's an open carry now.
Exactly. And
I still have mine. Just to make that clear for everybody.
Do you?
Hell yeah.
You're safe.
If I want to buy a pistol, I want to be able to buy a pistol and leave with it that day.
Well, what I thought was going to happen was that, because you can. And what I thought would happen with the constitutional carry was going to be we'd see a fall off on that. It went the other way, if anything, because
really?
I think more people went and decided, hey, I can get a gun now. Now that I've got my gun and I want to carry it, I want to carry it when I go through Alabama. I want to carry it when I'm traveling to Tennessee, So
Florida reciprocates like 38 states or something.
Yeah, something like that. So they realized I need it. I need to be able to reciprocate. Yep. So they come in to get their license. Where before, I think they just didn't carry a gun because I didn't want the hassle, but now it's constitutional carry. Now they carry it. I like it. Mm-hmm. I want to carry it all the time.
Yeah.
So they're getting their concealed.
Nothing and that wrong
seems
with that.
To work out good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So some of those challenges. And then recently, someone decided to retire over there. Is that a rumor I heard?
Yeah, that's not just a rumor. That's a fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when does Miss Rhonda actually retire?
She actually retired May 22nd of this year. So
is she done?
She's already done. Yes, sir.
She's not coming to the tax office anymore?
She comes by and visits.
Does it mean if I have a problem, I got to call you?
Yeah, they call me.
Okay. All right. Well, so you decided to run for that position.
Yes.
I didn't realize she left already. So are you running things right now?
Yeah, I am. I'm the chief tax collector.
How do you retire when you don't have a replacement yet?
Well, that's on the state. The state has a choice. Chase, the governor, it was his choice if he wants to appoint somebody in that interim.
So it's like
or if he wanted to just leave it running like it was. And I feel like since it was such a short time frame, we're basically talking about 3 months or less, that he just decided probably, and I'm really glad of that for continuity of services with our employees. If he had appointed somebody, regardless of who that is, if it was anybody outside of our office, even said, hey, well, this person will just come in and look over things until the election, it sort of disrupts things in the office. And so I'm glad that didn't happen. But so between myself, chief tax collector, our chief financial officer, and our chief operations, we're just keeping things running. We're just doing the job. That's what we were doing before, and we're just still doing the job.
Yeah. Then there the other day, everything seemed to be clicking along.
Yeah, good. So you didn't even notice it.
I didn't even notice. Yeah, well,
that's a good thing.
Rhonda set it up so well with your assistance that she could just leave.
We did. We've worked hard, and Rhonda worked hard always on succession planning. We've always worked on that. And our strategic planning, our succession planning especially, it's like who's next in line, who's ready, make sure we're getting people ready. You never know why somebody may leave. There's just so many reasons. We know that out here in this world. So we want to be ready. We don't want to have a big fall off. And we've worked for a lot of years to get to a good position. I think we're in a great position right now with that.
Well, and again, not blowing smoke, y'all have done a great job. So why did you decide to run for tax collector, sir?
Well, that's, be honest with you, I've thought about that. I've been asked that a lot out here on the campaign trail. And the honest answer boils down to, I love my job. I love to be able to help people. I told you earlier some of my route, how I made it to the tax collector's office through the years. The last thing I thought the tax collector's office would be about was helping people. But what I have found out is, taxation can be confusing and a lot of anxiety can happen. I'm behind on my taxes, whatever, or I need my driver's license and whatever is expired. Oh my gosh, what do I do? But to be able to sit down with people and talk to them and calm their fears a little bit and watch them come in just anxious. I tell our staff, everybody that walks in the door, or I would say 90% of them anyway, if they get anything done, they left money in our office. Nobody likes to leave their money anywhere. They're having to pay money. But yet these same people get up and you see them walking out the door and they're laughing and they're waving back at the clerks and they're, I'll see you next time, So I said, we're doing something right. We're serving people. We're serving the people in our community too, where we live. And I love Walton County. I love the people here. And I just like being able to continue to help people and do that job. I mean, really, that's the bottom line why I decided to run. We have a great team that I've had a lot to do with putting in place for the last 21 years. And I feel like, I want to see them keep growing because I see some great future leaders in our office coming out of it. They're doing such a great job right now. And I just want to be part of that for a while longer. I want to keep serving the people.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So how's the campaigning been? I'm guessing that's not, well, I don't know. You kind of rode roads and, knocked on mobile home doors. So,
yeah, well, I did that.
I'm not sure that's campaigning, but, probably cut your teeth a little bit in that wheelhouse.
Yeah. Getting used to talking to people in their yard, right?
Yeah.
So, But, it's been good. The thing about it, it's been only about a 100-day race. But we had about 100 days from the time that, they said we could pre-qualify till the election day will be a week from today. Early voting's going on now. And so it has been a lot. It takes you about a good 30 days or more to really get a team under you when it kind of happens quick and suddenly. And Miss Rhonda, it did go kind of suddenly from the time she made her decision till she left. So, sort of put me behind the curve a little bit on trying to get all this going, but we got it up, we got it going, and here we are. We've been doing it, beating the roads, I guess you'd say. We're up and down from one end of this county to the next.
Yeah. Everybody, we've danced in the supporting politics in Walton County because of what I do. I have pretty strong opinions about certain things. Yeah. But at the same time, it's always, you gotta go knock on doors. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I don't know. I just like knocking on doors these days. There seems to be a more efficient way, but do you go knock on doors, Brian?
I have knocked on some doors. Okay. I sure have. But I will tell you, it's tough in Walton County now because, we have a lot of our communities that are no soliciting. Don't come in here. And, you know, I try to respect that. I don't want to go in there. If they don't want you soliciting in their community, I don't do it. So, yes, there's many other ways to try to reach people. In some ways, you can only knock on so many doors a day.
Yeah.
And there's some other ways that are probably more efficient. And I've tried to utilize those too, tried to do all these things. That has been the one probably disappointment I've had in is I would love to have been able to reach more of the county during this time and been able to talk to people on their porch, or if they call and say, hey, can you come by and see me? And I got 5 people in my neighborhood. They want to talk to you. Okay, great. We'll know what you're about. Just haven't had a lot of time to do that this time because it's such a short window. But,
is that because of her decision?
Yeah.
Came late?
Because when she decided, to do that.
Was she thinking about running possibly, or?
I'll say that again.
Was Rhonda thinking about doing it again?
Well, no, she would still been in office until 2028.
Oh, okay.
So she sort of left little prior to midterm.
Okay.
And, so that's what created, there's some statute that says if it's so many months from the next election, then the governor, there's a special election. If it's within that window, there's an appointment by the governor. Well, we're outside that window, which meant for a special election. When she did what she did, there was approximately 3 weeks, I think, left before qualifying. So because it's prior to qualifying, they were able to get it and run concurrent with the ballot that's going on right now that was already going to happen. Okay. Which saves the state money, the county, saves everybody money by not having to do a separate individual special election.
Well, I think you've been doing this for 21 years. I think there are probably a few people that met you.
A few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it was knocking on doors things and how hot it is right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you get a great conversation with a couple, and they're telling you how great the tax office is run and blah, blah, blah. And 30 minutes later, you're on the front porch and you're sweating. You're like, you know what? I just think the door knocking thing in this day and time seems to be like we could do it more efficiently, but you're still willing to do it.
I'm still willing to do it. There was times I felt like, well, what could I be doing right now? So at that moment, there's not a festival going on where you can meet, you can maybe see, who knows, 500, 1,000 people that day, or you can knock on doors all day and maybe see 100, maybe, and so which one's more efficient? Tried to play it out and just because of the short window again and do which one was most advantageous for me to get to my message out to the people. And obviously social media, that's been a whole new tool. I hate to say new, it's not brand new, obviously, but it has really, the usage of it has changed a lot, I think, in our political process.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
there's some loophole with political text that I learned about this year.
Oh, really? Yeah. They come through anyway?
Huh?
They
get away with it on it if they get what is it? The anti-texting laws? I don't know. I'm spitballing here a little bit, but she knows, about texting. You can do mass text or you can get put on, or you get in trouble. You get fined now.
Yeah.
The FCC that manages it?
Yeah, there's some rules about that.
But there's a loophole in politics if you're on a political party list or you've donated. So I'm just getting, mine's all Republican. You're just getting hammered. Not surprised that I'm in Walton County. But yeah, I get a new 2 or 3 texts every day about a candidate somewhere. Sometimes not even near the panhandle.
And I know political mailers for years. I mean, they come to your house and next thing you know, you get 20 in the mailbox that day. And it's like, do people read them? It's great information for people. They spent their time to put it, but I get it. A lot of folks,
I throw it out.
And it goes out. So I feel like political text, boom, 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 you're getting so many. Same thing. I think at some point you just go, that's another one.
It's something I need to learn about, I'm going to go and AI it and learn about that for myself and what's on my ballot. That's how I choose to do it. Do I think there's plenty of old school people in Walton County that probably do look at those? Yeah, probably there are. Yeah. But, with technology days, you could geofence DeFuniak Springs itself and do a whole campaign for just that. There. So I joke about because we're in August and it's hot as what out there. Yeah. And you walking around in that nice coat and that nice shirt.
I'm not wearing this out there. I'm not wearing this out there. I promise you. I've got on a t-shirt.
You're going to be hot, brother.
I'd melt right on the way. Yeah.
So, and I've the tax office has always done a good job. I've pretty much voiced my opinion of the politics that I've delved into, and that's my strong opinions about our kids' playing fields in South Walton and North Walton. We got a lot of work to do in Walton County for that, but you're the guy in charge of generating that revenue, not necessarily making decisions about the fields. But I think somebody that grew up here, we've had a lot of growth, and I think we should have better facilities for our local people. Yes, the tourists, that's how pretty much this county overall generates the large amount of revenue that we do. Is it a correct statement, and totally shifting gears, that whatever gets passed or gets through on the ballot as far as this homestead tax, Walton County will be somewhat insulated from a dramatic shift?
Based on what we see and what we know, Walton County is sort of we're a unique creature, so to say, because one of the things is our property values are so high that, and we have so much new inventory that's going to be coming on the tax roll this year, probably next year. Some that'll come this year wasn't on it. Didn't have a CO, obviously, before January. So because of that, the money that may come off of the tax roll from the new homestead exemption, we're adding so much back, and the values are so high, we feel like it's probably just going to sort of be a wash. Walton County still may be a little above, based on some numbers I've seen. And like I say, there's a lot of unknowns still, because one, it hadn't passed, and two, what's going to come after that, because there's not a lot of direction on that. It just sort of said, this is what you'll get. So I don't know what that's going to mean for counties and cities on monies that they will lose out of their coffers, but the other things are being added back overall. So Walton County's unique in that. Some other counties are not, and we got neighbors to the east of us that I feel they already run a very tight budget. You start taking a lot out of the tax dollars that they're going revenue they're going to generate. What happens to them, because now if we're barely making it with this and a large part of that's gone, now what? Where does that money come from? But that'll be to be decided and worked out. I'm sure the legislature will be working on that if it passes. I know for me, I'm expecting fully, if this passes next November, when the tax bill comes out, that we're going to get a lot of phone calls that are saying, well, I've got a tax bill. We said no new taxes. I just hope everybody will really look into what this means. This new tax bill, what actually will still, you've got a non-ad valorem assessment, it's still going to be on there. School tax is still going to be on there. So I hope everybody will educate themselves and really do some investigating into that, whether it passes, whether it doesn't, maybe before you vote, but think about it and look into it. So, just arm yourself with some information on it, because a lot of people, I hear them say it, no tax. It'll mean no tax. It just means no tax. No, that's not exactly what it means.
Well, to that point, do you really think whatever's up there is not going to pass?
I don't know. I would
say to your point of mentally, it's no tax.
It's passing. If you ask me, you give the voter a chance to do away with the tax.
Yeah, and I'm not asking for like a commitment from you, but to your point of people, you preparing.
Yeah,
for me, in theory, preparing for these phone calls.
Yeah.
They're not going to read it, but in the voting aspect.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to remove a tax from my, my P&L.
Yeah, that's what
my home P&L. It's like,
that's what they hear.
I'm going to vote yes.
That's what people hear. And that's why I say, just hope they arm themselves with some information about what it really means for everything. For Walton County, to your point, we have a little over 100,000 parcels total. I think the number is 20,800 are homesteaded right now. Of that 20,800, it's almost split down the middle. It's like 10-3 are $250,000 or less. The rest, the other 10-4, 10-5 are $250,000 or more. So yes, it's really an even split. It really is on our homesteads. It was pretty close. At least the number that I ran, that's what it was. I was very surprised it was that close on the homesteads. But
that's not a I'm proud comment. That's the values here.
Well, there's so many homes that are, especially South End, I would say, that are, we know obviously there's so many homes here, but they're not all homesteaded. Yeah. They're second homes or rental homes or that. So visually you would think they're wait, that number's right.
Yeah.
But then when you put it together,
Put it in
realize,
Homestead.
that's
that
what
makes
it
more
is.
sense.
So for the actual folks who are living here.
Got it. So any changes you would like to see if you're fortunate enough to get elected to office moving forward?
Changes in
like in the tax office,
in our office, yeah. Like I would like to institute, yeah. There's some, which is I've been asked that question too a lot, and I said, well, what would you change? Well, I've been spending the last 21 years helping build it to what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, I know there's some things we still want to do because we've never been complacent. We're always looking for the next thing. How can we grow, expand, and do more for the people of Walton County? And that's something I've been really, passionate about for a long time. So one of the things that's big on my list is that I'm going to try to do immediately is more accessibility to the office. We're looking at trying to figure out how we can expand the workday for us a little bit. We close our office at 4:30. So many places close their doors at 4:30, which means their employees are having to try to run in at lunch, which we mentioned earlier kind of swells our lobbies, or they have to take off work. And I ran into that with my own son. He was he's an electrician. He's running around. He never knows where he'll be from day to day. And he needed to do a little work. And he said, I'll just take off work and come in. I said, why don't you come in? Why ain't you taking off work? He said, well, we leave on the work truck and, I'll have to drive my truck or I'll have to just not work that day. And he doesn't have leave time, Oh, you miss a day's pay to do some title work. We gotta, I know it's there, but it really hit home with that. So I said, I'll try to find a way to give more opportunities for people to get in here and conduct their business without having to miss work. Whatever that looks like. Is it an hour or hour and a half later in the afternoons? Maybe it's open 30 minutes or an hour earlier in the mornings as well, maybe, and then split our staff a little bit. So there's some logistics we would have to work out, but we definitely want to look at that and see how we can make that better for the people to give them more options to be more accessible. Not just online. There's so many people that don't want to do anything online, and some things just can't be done online. You got to sign a title. You got to physically put the ink on the paper, So we want to be able to offer those opportunities for people. That's one of the things I want to change right off.
I like that.
And I'm also looking at a second thing is they're piloting it in a couple of counties, Escambia County and I believe Hillsborough County is the other one. It's a mobile unit, and what we would be able to do with that mobile unit. Let's say you're in Inlet Beach, or you're in Miramar Beach, or you're in Paxton, especially on the beach places this time of the year at the beach locations. It's a long drive with all this traffic over to our office at Santa Rosa Beach. You can get caught in traffic. If we could bring a couple employees and set up in one of those areas, we're going to be here certain days of the week or so many days a month, and we know what that schedule is, and we get it on a regular rotating basis, then why go in to drive in and fight the traffic when, hey, they'll be just right around the corner in, next week or Monday and Tuesday.
Sure.
Every week. If we can do that and start bringing our office to the people, I think that's a game changer for us. We'll be able to do, it's much better than opening a brick and mortar building. I mean, we all know the cost and the value, especially in the south end of property, to have to build a whole place, because it's not just build a little building, you got to have a parking lot, and you got to have these other things that go along with it. So if we're able to set up in something
about land,
yes,
the county may have some, but
they do, but it's the same thing. You're saving the taxpayer dollar.
Sure.
I'm using employees that would normally be in the office.
A bus is going to be a lot more cost effective. I'll give you that.
Absolutely. Something to that effect. That's what we're looking at, being able to try to bring services to the people and save them that drive and just make it easier in their community. We already do that with property taxes. We do that we set up in Inlet Beach, Miramar Beach, Mossy Head, Paxton,
where at?
Red Bay, in Inlet Beach.
Yeah, or just any of them.
We use a existing location, like with one of the restaurants here in Inlet Beach. We've used it. I can
go pay my taxes at a restaurant, Brian?
That's
Man,
right.
How about that?
We've used some churches. We used several of them. We do restaurants because people go to restaurants, and it's easy to get in. There's a parking lot, and we work it out ahead of time. They know that's going to happen on that day. They give us a little space to the side. We do it during property tax season. That's all folks can do is walk in and pay their property tax. But you'd be surprised how many love to walk in their community and do it, especially here in the Rosemary Inlet Beach area and the Miramar Beach area. Man, those are two of our biggest ones people walk in.
How are you said Escambia and Hillsborough? Those are two very different counties.
They're very
How
different.
The pilots going?
They're piloting that program, and from what I'm hearing, it's working excellent. They're very, very happy with it. Another thing is if I'm able to do it, let's say there's a particular festival going on. somewhere. People are putting up booths, doing that kind of stuff. Why couldn't we set up there too on a Saturday, per se? And hey, I'm here and, I need my tag. You can go come get it. Come on in. We'll get it for you right now. Knock it out for them while they're there. So just making more options and more opportunities, just continuing to be more accessible for the people. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm really looking towards.
Well, I mean, that would be cool, but at the same time, I feel like you guys have done a pretty good job over the last few years, or 21 years in your case, of making a pretty damn efficient tax office. So, and that is George's opinion, but I've witnessed it as well because I'm in there a lot because of what we do. So, all right. Why should someone give you their vote?
Why should you give me a vote? Well, number one, you just said it. I got the experience, and we've been talking about it here today, and you've heard a little bit about me and what I've done and been doing. We've been very innovative through the years. I'm going to continue to be very innovative, putting customer service, first. That's always going to be first. When I say innovative, another thing we did a few years ago is we looked at it and realized we were bringing people into the office almost on stretchers because they're on hospice, but they needed a ID card. And, it's just not convenient. Their family has to get them there. So what could we do? Well, we fought the state, sort of say they pushed back, and we pushed too, but we ended up getting it, right after COVID. It finally got put out to us. We call it the ID Go solution, where we can go into a person's home who's on hospice at the end of life, but they still need a ID card, keep their medical, whatever going, or they're in a nursing home, same thing. We're able to go into a nursing home there. We can get their picture, let them sign it, and we can get their ID card printed, brought right back to them, and they don't even have to come into our office. I mean, that's another way, when I say innovative, trying to look out how can we help people?
Yeah.
So the innovation for me is not to have some nice cutesy thing. It's to what can we do to help people? And that's one of the things we've been doing. I want to continue to do that for the people. I care about the people of Walton County. I care about this county and the growth and the direction it's going. I want to continue to provide an office that, whether it's accessible online, in person, or we're doing a mobile unit and coming to you, whatever, that we're making inroads for you to get your business done. You didn't ask to pay taxes. You didn't ask to have a tag for your car registration, but we have to. So I think what is important for me to do is make sure we can provide you that opportunity in the best setting possible, whether it may be for you, not just one size doesn't fit all. For some people, I don't want to do anything but online. Great. We want that. And we want to keep pushing for more online options from the state. So that's what I'm after. And that's why I think you should vote for me, is just look, because I'm going to keep you first as the person, the citizen of Walton County. I'm going to keep you first. I have been doing that for the last 21 plus years, really 33 years total public service. All my service has been done right here in Walton County. That's because I love this place. I could have left. I chose to raise my family here because I love this place, and I still love it, and I love the direction it's going. I know we got some issues. We got some growing pains, but I think we got good people in places and we're, always working to get better people in places to get those solved. And we will. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but, I just want the opportunity to continue serving the people here in Walton County. And that's why, I'm asking for their vote.
I love it. Okay. Well, we got plenty of issues, but I don't think the tax office is one of them. So good. I'll tell you this, you got my vote, brother.
I appreciate that.
How can they find you?
How can they find me? Well, you can go to, my website is votemcbroom.com. I have a Facebook page as well. You can link it to there. Also, on my brochures, you would see it. I have my phone number, and I'll give that right now, 850-951-3564. I give that out. I didn't start giving out when I ran for office. I've always gave that out. The reason is, let's say it's Saturday night and you're about to buy a boat, and somebody says, I don't need it. You don't need anything. Just go down there. They'll get you the title, whatever. You might better want to give me a call. You might just end up with a big paperweight, otherwise. And so, I would rather you call and say, hey, they say I don't need a title. They say I don't need a bill of sale. Maybe you don't in that situation. We'll see what they got. Where's it coming from? What's the deal with it? But allow us the opportunity to try to help you before you do something you're unsure of. So that's why I do that. I always, you're buying a car on Friday night. I don't want you to have to wait till Monday morning. It might be a great deal. Yeah. And you might need to do it right then. If you can find out an answer in the next hour, 30 minutes, an hour, hey, that's better for you, the customer. And that's what we're after.
Love it. Well, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Best of luck to you. Hope all goes well. We got about a week before go time. So.
Yeah, a week from today. Yeah. And early voting is going on right now, and it'll go on till each day, 8:30 to 4:30 through Saturday.
Love it. Brian, thank you. Brian McBroom.
All
Appreciate
right,
you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, time.
Thank you, man.
All right.